So without further ado, we would like to welcome Mr. Amarnath to share with us this topic. Over to you, Mr. Amarnath.
Thank you. Thank you for my introduction, and hope you're able to see my screen and voice is audible.
Yeah.
Can someone come for me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So a lot of background noise. Can we mute the others? Thank you. Yeah. So my name is Amarnath. Thanks everyone. First of all, good afternoon, and I know everyone is just continuously following. Hope it is excited for you all, right? And just again a small introduction. I'm from India, part of a Microsoft India category services. With me for this today's session, I have my good friend Chua Ming, who is part of Malaysia ecosystem, and he works as a pre-sales consultant. Chua, you want to introduce yourself once?
Yes. Can you hear me, Amma?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Chua. I'm from Malaysia and work in eager messaging as a pre-sales consultant. I have more than 10 years experience in deploying the Hyper-V, Exchange, SQL Server, and so on, Microsoft other solutions. Yeah.
Thank you, Chua. Yes. So in today's session, majority we would be focusing like three breaks of a schedule what we are looking at. And earlier session we had a very decent understanding of our Azure Stack HCI and hybrid approach. Thanks for Kenny and Ting to taking over the first introduction, right? So if we break our session today, we break this down into just rephrasing the overall Azure Stack HCI and the HP's hardware configurations with the unique capabilities which they have, especially looking after the retail and branch office scenarios. That's the main focus of our entire session. Okay, and majorly we wanted to follow with more interesting, unique features in the session, what we have introduced with Server 2019, and followed by a fun and good demo sessions through Chua. Chua would be very much happy to showcase his experience and the best practices he has been used for making sure the retail and branch office experience can be greater for every audience, right? So as earlier sessions, whoever has been followed on Azure Stack HCI would have been aware of what exactly is the use cases we look after, right? So we recommend around 5 or 6 scenarios as of now. And today's session, I would be majorly focusing on a branch office and edge, how we can able to take the best practices and which can be helpful for any retail environment or any branch office locations. Okay. To start with, I just wanted to give a brief, as we discussed earlier in the earlier session. Also, I'm just rephrasing what exactly is the HCI combination from Microsoft, right? If you look at the overall stack of a technology we build, actually it is focusing on main components like management, which is Windows Admin Center, which is a single pane of a glass. You can say everything you can configure, you can manage, you can centralize the services through a Windows Admin Center, which is our management pane. When it comes to storage or virtualization, we have all the built-in features, which is through software-defined storage model. We call it as a storage space direct as a feature name. And when it comes to virtualization, it is again a software-defined virtualization when it comes to Microsoft solution, which is a Hyper-V, which is not very new to any industry expert, because this has been more than a decade from the time we launched, but we have enhanced a lot of best benefits for the latest equipments, right? Latest technologies or a hardware, you can say. And the good point we need to keep when it comes to HCI from Microsoft is even it has a built-in software-defined networking tools. With all above, basically, we can talk about the best validated configuration. So worldwide, we work with multiple OEMs to bring upon the best results for the customers. That is where one of a prominent partner is a HPE. They have a strong ecosystem, and they have a strong relationship with Microsoft to ensure the best configurations to be reached till the customer end, right? So if anyone is interested, we can browse to this website called microsoft.com/HCI, where you can see all the certified catalog configurations, which can be referral based on the usage. Okay. Right. So we work closely generally when we develop as a Microsoft solutions, right? We work closely with the right customers to understand, right? When it comes to a Robo kind of scenario, which is a retail or a branch office mindset, right? We work very closely with small retail setup kind of environments, which starts from 2 to 3 nodes in the different branch offices, right? Especially if we talk, we can take our own example, like maybe an HP or a Microsoft retail stores in different regions. We learned a lot of unique things. What is the basic deployment capabilities on the edge they look at? Maybe you can say an example of security, securing their access badges, or they may be using multiple services for having the cameras or the different applications to run on-premises services, right? Even though they need a lightweight solutions there, right? That will be able, that has to have a capability to scale as and when it needed. That is the main thing, which in a robust scenario, HCI comes into the picture, which can be a great value, right? But also it needs to have a capability. Whoever is the person, whoever is the company is taking a decision to deploy a retail store kind of a infrastructure, they need to have a capabilities that it can supposed to scale based on the requirement, and it should have a capability to handle a lot of the other tasks, because all these services which I spoke, like one is a security badges scanning or services, or a camera streaming capturing, cannot be directly moved to cloud. That is where the on-premises dependency or a hybrid approach is recommended when it comes to edge, especially for a retail or a branch office scenario. To get into a little bit more detail, before that I would just like to give a sense of a HP's portfolio. So HP is one of the broadest range of server models for Azure Stack HCI, with the 9 different models, but with the 34 different configurations. That is one of the great point we need to keep in mind, because out of 120 or 130 when we started with the server 2019 HCI, the majority of a share of a configurations has been dominated by HP worldwide. And the good point is they have all the ecosystem players of services like through Intel, AMD, or some other, right? And it has been categorized based on the workloads. It has been categorized based on the use cases. That is how 34 different configurations uniquely you can see from a HP's catalog, right? Yes. So, and on overall, right, if you see this Azure Stack HCI solution is developed, is one of lowest cost in the industry, I can say. You can get unlimited guest Windows Server operating system virtual machines. You can get unlimited Windows and Linux containers, and all of this are included with compute, storage, and networking in one simple license, which is Windows Server Data Center license, right? And how easy it is to manage, right? So with the admin center, right, we have earlier seen admin center benefits with our colleagues, right? And to manage it, you can use one touch portal admin center to access all of that data. Uniqueness of this is basically it is a agentless. It is just a browser base. You can just use a right relevant information which can be used or which has been supposed to be need as per the requirement, and with same panel you can able to monitor or check the health status of each and every cluster. That is the simplified model of a management pane which Microsoft has brought. It has been inspired by Azure because we wanted a lighter version which can be helpful for any organization. And the good point is, as earlier we discussed in the before session by Kenny, right? This supports in lower editions also, lower versions also, like 2008 R2. Also we can control with admin center. The good point is it can be installed even on a server. It can be installed on a Windows 10 also to manage the entire infrastructure. So with the present situation, if you see, this is a good experience, right? Most of our employees are not able to go to offices to manage the services. In that case, this is the best way to look at, where we have everything connected remotely without any extra dependencies as an agents, right? And it is very lightweight version because it has been developed on a HTML5. Right. So, and now we have added a lot of hybrid capabilities in there that needs that can be extended your on-premises footprint towards a cloud. And we have seen few demos like file sharing, and we have seen some other demos of hybrid environments earlier also, right? Why we need to look at an angle when it comes to the on-premises to the cloud, right? Because we need to have a business continuity plans going further. This is one of a good learning phase which every company company or every country has seen a situation that all their infrastructure should have a backup plan, right? The services cannot be interrupted. That is one of a big area which Microsoft Windows Server Data Center helps, or Windows Server licensing helps with Azure Stack HCI with strong on-premises, which can be helpful for your business continuity whenever it happens, right? When something goes wrong, proactively monitoring and health status of the system will guide properly, and it has a capability even for the notifications. So with this, I just wanted to give a little bit more details on the next few areas I just wanted to pitch up on, right? As you all know, we spoke all these features earlier in session also, and right, this is all part of one data center license, okay? If customer has an existing Windows Server Data Center, these all features are available. Azure Stack HCI is just a program to find the validated configurations and the hardware and the capabilities to enhance the best services for the customer, right? And that is where the difference comes in. When it comes to networking, right? So one of a thing we need to know is how do we do our networking when it comes to HCI. Maybe most of IT persons, they may not be aware of the real picture. They may be concerned about it, right? It is very simple. So when Microsoft recommendation scale, when the customer require the scale networking capability, scale dependencies, then we recommend 25 gig capable networking. But when you are doing a simple solution at the edge, like a retail or a branch office scenarios, you can just do it with a 10 gig networking. You can also support switchless seeking, do with the direct connections. For example, one NIC from the first node to the second node, right? So simple direct connection networking, and it can also used a Thunderbolt, because the benefit of a Server 2019 edition, it supports even a Thunderbolt if your hardware supports. If you take a simple Thunderbolt connection from one server to the next server, you can use that as an interconnect and do all the intercluster communication. So you can use the data replication or synchronization between two nodes for updates or Y migration traffic and everything between the nodes. So you have very simple, low cost, and you don't need extra switch with the minimal requirement, right? That is how the solution has been designed. So a simple message to say, right? The networking perspective at the edge, nice solution to ensure with the minimum concern management required. Basically, it starts from two nodes. That's what the main message I wanted to give with this, right? So it is very simplified, right? Because you don't need to put extra cost. It's basically a validated configuration. You can just take an example of a real 360 kind of a version, right? It starts with around 20 to 22K as an average costing based on a limited configuration or a simple configuration we look at. And it is a combination for the hardware, it is combination for service, it is combination of a two nodes, and it is combination of a Windows Server Data Center license also included. Very simple, right? The second is nice resiliency to directly connect with failover in the event of network becomes available to switch over to other or one of the starting, right? We have resiliency having with two network connections built in, right? That's how we look at. So one of our big concern when we receive multiple inquiries, right, is how do we choose the storage? What is the best way as a Microsoft solution we need to choose for the storage perspectives? That is one of a common question when we started HCI with Server 2016. To make it very simplified, right? So we should just spend a minute, I think, on this, which can be helpful to every others to understand, right? So we have, when we are selecting a HCI configuration, we have a plenty of combinations of a hardware. The same, lots of choices we can able to depend on multiple scenarios, right? So you can use a spinning rest with the hard drive with a basic normal stronger higher configuration hard disk drive. You can use SSDs, or you can use NVMe's, or you can use persistent memory. And so you have lots of choices for you to have the right partner ecosystem support or the right things based on your business application need. That is how Microsoft has given a flexibility when they have given the HCA as a combination with the Server 2019. That is how a customer has a probability to choose whichever the storage capability, whichever the budget he has. The main priority, what we recommend is based on the use case, you please choose. That's what even we request all our partners to ensure to understand that what kind of configuration, what kind of services they want to achieve with the HCI node, what they are using. That is one of a recommendation from Microsoft we do to each and every partner. And so let's talk about the performance on optimizing the solutions, right? And I think most of the people, generally what I heard or what we have seen is saying that they don't need to have a high performance and high performance need on the edge scenarios, because they prefer that it can be managed through different sources which has been connected in a multiple locations, right? That should be not a recommended model. It should be like a flat model where we say so the best performance when you ever see from Microsoft side, also when we have launched or when we discuss multiple times about the IOPS, we say the fashion numbers of 13 millions or 12 millions. We have different benchmarks when we tried with the different configurations, right? But a simple answer why I should mention is whatever the best numbers we have seen, it is based on the flat design of multiple storage selections. Means if we are looking at the combination of SSD best, yes, that's one of a good result we have seen. We never mix up the multiple storage flashes or storage connections so that we don't see a better results. What we recommend is based on the requirement, based on the dependency on the workloads, we need to choose the right storages, right? And the other side of it, why we need to choose the edge solution with the better way is because with the different form factors, we will have a restrictions. We cannot use multiple different storage capabilities or number of drives with that in the specific configuration or a hardware which we have selected, right? That is where we recommend a flat design of a flash drives for getting the best IOPS experience through as an output, right? So it is very simple, right? How do we choose? We wanted to choose a best experience solution, or we wanted to just select a solution as a multiple configurations which cannot be helpful for the scaling requirement for the latest speeds? That is something we just need to keep in mind, right? That is what a simple message I wanted to give away. So one of the things we have with Azure Stack HCI is that we have a true real-time cache, real-time cache for both read and write. What we can do is it can be actually through IO with the input output, which is coming will be a stage it on a flash device. And that could be a SSD or NVMe. And then we can do a staging towards a higher capability or a high capacity hard drives also. So at the edge, you have to have a high capacity, maybe like you have a video capturing or example. I'm just taking an example of a video capturing at the edge. You need to have a high capacity solution. You probably need to look at solutions like this. Basically, when we are choosing the configuration, better recommendation based on the requirement or a solution, you need to choose the storage. That is what a simple message which I wanted to give with this, right? So with this as a combination, when we look at a hybrid design, majority of scenarios, what I have seen is I have seen in a POCs also with few partners is a different combinations. Okay, what we recommend is because when we are looking at cache memory, right, we need to have more of a latest technologies on extra sockets where you will not miss out the extra drives connectivity. That's one of a recommendation, which is NVMe is recommended for a cache and SSDs for a cache, and basic storage or a main storage, we can just still go with the hard drive. So I just would like to give one more concern, because most of our customers, when they got learning through an internet, they got confused that cache can be used of anything, right? Cache is not a direct storage. It is just only for redundancy, and it should be majorly used for cache services that cannot give up extra storage, right? So if you see this example, this screenshot, we have a 4 spindle hard drives, which is 4 TB into 4, which is 16 TB usable capacity. When you are running with a SSD as a cache, it's a good experience. But we cannot get that read and write of a experience through the main storage because we are losing number of sockets. That's how it is. The entire capacity of a cache drive is consumed by S2D feature, and it is not available for system. That's something we need to keep in mind when we speak, right? With this, I would like to just give a sense of different offerings from HPE, right? HPE has a different configurations around 14 to support the JBOD and extended storage capacity without adding any extra nodes. So as earlier session we discussed, it starts from 2 nodes and it has a capability to reach up to 16 nodes. Okay, 16 nodes as a entire cluster capability, and the services of a 14 different configuration with the JBOD, which is the biggest thing, which is the biggest catalog which you can able to get offered or use for your services. And the good point is majority of your configuration supports the persistent memory. So the cache can be very much easily deployed for your customer experiences, right? So one of a concern generally we understand is more of a, how do we manage the failures? Because the selection, if it is not properly taken over as a best service, it will be a concern always, right? That is where we just need to be aware. One of a good example as a learning, even for Microsoft, when we came up with a solution of resiliency in Server 2016, because a lot of customers have added their own opinions. For example, if I'm taking a 2-node, right? So if you have a drive failure on one node, yeah, it is still recoverable, right? When you have a server failure, yes, everything is synced on it, right? One of the example with most of the customers have asked is, if their storage and if their node is failure, so it is like a two-sided, right? Because most of the retail scenarios, customer wants to have a backup ready, right? Being it's a remote locations or being it's a multiple location side, they may need to take some downtime, which cannot be done on the live services which they are promoting. Just beat an example of a restaurant, beat an example of a small e-tail, right? Where we cannot take any action as a service, right? Like we cannot pause any services. And the other side of it is, even they cannot restart because the services or the backup may be missed out, right? This is one of a scenario. Most of our customers has given us the feedback on our insider preview portal when we launched in Server 2016. That is where Microsoft came up with a different approach, especially in Server 2019. You may be thinking that it's a very old structure what we are looking at, right? Yeah, that is one of the base thing which we have considered. We wanted to ensure that the parity between the suburban node 1 to node 2 is properly backed up with the storage services. So what we took an example was just a basic model, which is a RAID 5 plus 1. What we made is, in Server 2019, when customer is using with the nested resiliency model, by default, it will be one parity and the others are direct services. The same, it can be continued with the second node. So we have all the redundancy and proper setup accordingly, right? So that all can be resulted through a simple setup through a nested resiliency features, okay? So it can handle 2 failures at a time, right? And it can handle 2 failures in a different manner. It may be a node down or a storage down, and it can be supported all the variants whichever is looking at, right? And the next point we came to a big concern was, how do we rely on the edge? Because it is mostly when the services are running from different connections of a 2 nodes, what all the services are dependency or something like that. How do we ensure that we are not missing out any data? That's one of a small request it came to us. So with the VNext, with the recent updates what we have released, we are just creating a small update. When a manual update or a manual restart option comes in, it pops up saying that you have one service running on a backstage, which can be which cannot be recovered if you are continuing the force restart, if you are taking an action of a restart or other services. That is something which we are trying to bring up so that you have a proactive measure to be taken, because most of the situations on a retail, they do not have a direct IT expertise, right? That is one of a place we wanted to ensure that that PC can be an IT expert for them, or server can be IT expert for them to guide. Do they need to take the action or not on time? That is one of the things which we are bringing up with the recent additions. And I just wanted to speak, this would be my important topic, which I wanted to create a very simple messaging, right? So how do we set up a USB witness as a quorum by using a Windows Admin Center? That is one of the greatest feature which has been brought in Server 2019 support for Azure Stack HCI. To start with, majorly, most of our customers take a benchmark of a VMware for a cluster quorum today, right? When it comes to that, yes, obviously, when we require a quorum, we require a third-party software, and it actually never gives a best result, right? That is one of the way we used to have a thinking methodology, because it needs to be an extra entire setup has to be done as a third server so that they can able to have a quorum witness, right? So what actually as a requirement when we see from a VMware, it needs to be like an VMware witness appliance separately, and it takes a lot of high storage and the bandwidth requirements to set up. When it comes to Windows, it is simple. It is like a file share witness with the minimal storage and the bandwidth within our infrastructure we can able to manage, right? The next point I wanted to just give you is, what we have introduced in Server 2019 is majorly the USB quorum, right? With the cost of maximum of a $5. So this is just a reference, obviously based on the storage what we select and based on the USB thumb drive what we select, we get. But by using a USB through a network connection through a switch, we can able to create a true quorum with quorum witness within the infrastructure of a two node, right? How does this work? Actually, this demo would be showcased by Chua. So to simple explanation, I just wanted to show on our router, we can just connect a USB with the pre-configured and ensure as a witness or a quorum properly to continue with the infrastructure. Okay, so with this, when you see as a backup kind of thing, when VMware recommends, they recommend us to use a VM in the cloud, and it will be taking a high storage and it will be an extra cost also to every customer. When it comes to Windows Server combination, being it's a hybrid capable enough, we recommend to use a blob storage on a cloud, which is a small footprint of a storage, and it will be a very less chargeable cost for every customer as a witness if they are choosing it. And with the interest of time, I may not able to showcase the demos, but when we are sharing the presentations, you will have all the videos or the links where you can refer these all experiences together. And I just wanted to give one more simple information. What we have improved in Server 2019 is to understand the diagnostics of individual services, because most of a situation when customers are reaching up to Microsoft or HP for the services, first question every technical support team asks is, do you have the diagnosis information on the specific service what you are looking for the support, right? So I'm just trying to showcase you a small video where you can understand the experience of a diagnostic tool. So I'm just using a small video. I'll just run through this. This is one of a small cluster on a hyperconverged admin center panel. You can see on the left side panel, you have an option for diagnostics. When you do that, you just need to install this tool. That's it. This is a version which is showing right now with the PowerShell gallery. When you install this, automatically it will check and it will understand the services of a storage space direct, and it will just give us the pop-up directly information. This is a good news that you are up to date, right? And what we have an option is where we can automatically collect this every 24 hours, so that IT administration has a proper log where you can able to keep it as a backup for their internal compliance or legalities to showcase that how the performances were happening, right? When you connect to sorry, yeah, so you have one more option. Basically, by collecting to different services, you can get this entire information, and you can even download this on a zip file to understand the entire diagnosis, how it happened, what is the status, which cluster, what it is, everything. If you see this is the log list which has been taken over. And if you want to browse manually directly, it has a built-in tools. When you click that, it opens into a server manager. On the left side, you can able to see the multiple files and the paths, and you can see this entire zip folders where you can see. When you just click that, and your download option can be enabled, and you can directly browse into that script, and accordingly you can able to see that what exactly happened, where it went fail, and every status can be seen. This is one of a simple thing which is part of a HCI cluster manager recently, which has been announced. Yes. So as a takeaway, I just wanted to give a best sense to everyone. As you understand, this is a second session on a HCI, second or third session we are continuing today, right? With HPE and Azure Stack HCI combination, we can get the end-to-end storage services through a storage space direct. And it actually the best and the lowest high HCI solution which you can utilize in the present market solutions or in IT industry. Or it actually helps you to reduce the networking overheads because everything is built in with software defined network. It has a resiliency at the edge, which can be used on a capable management, and it supports starting from 2 nodes. That's one of a big thing, right? Because every customer, when they look for a good solution, they look for how much they can reduce their cost, right? And it can scale unlimited, because with the data center licensing, it will have all the services unlimited, right? It may be containers, it may be Kubernetes, it may be virtual machines, everything, right? And the good point is for management, you don't require multiple tools. very simple. With one admin center, you can able to control entire server infrastructure. And if you are connecting with the Azure Arc on a cloud subscription, you can even control, or you can have entire services connected even in a multi-cloud environment. That's how the admin center has been developed for. And by default, we have seen few hybrid services, maybe a file sync or a simplified management or a update management. All the services can be integrated with the HP's Azure Stack HCI solutions with Windows Server supported. And with all this, when we are able to achieve the best experience on your retail, it makes your server or infrastructure to be modernized. That is the best capabilities which we are bringing with the Azure Stack HCI. With this, a simple takeaway, right? So how do we explore this, right? So we just need to browse a Microsoft.com/HCI website where you can able to see the multiple catalog versions what we have been published. And by just taking the Windows Server software as a best benefit, where it can be a pre-installed, so that you have all the services unlimited with it. And for management, you have an admin center, which is again a free tool, which can be downloaded even from this website, aka.ms/Windows Admin Center. And by taking the few hybrid services, and if you want to expand your multiple locations through multiple cloud services, by just taking Azure Arc, you will have all the services can be connected. With this, I would like to request my friend Chua to take over a few demos, which we have discussed as of now. Chua, over to you.
Thanks, Amar. Okay, let me share the screen now. Everyone see the screen now? Somebody answer me.
Yes, now we can see Chua.
Can see, okay. Good afternoon. I'm Chua. I will go through with you for this session's demo. Okay, we have 5 topics to go through. The first one is live migration. Okay, the second one is about the data deduplication. The third one is using the USB thumb drive as a file shariness. The fourth one is the resiliency. Okay, and the fifth one, and also the last one, is the IOPS performance. Okay, let's quickly go through the demo set. Okay, this demo set consists of 2 servers, and these 2 servers connected to each other with the 25G DAC cable. Okay, then the other end, you connected to the production network. The node 1 have a SSD with 2 units, 480 GB, and then you have another storage hard disk consists of 4 unit, 1 TB SAS hard disk. Okay, both 2 not have the same configuration. Okay, let's go through the first demo. Is about the live migration. Okay, live migration in fact is not a new demo to everybody, and in fact this technology is not a new technology. Okay, all the while we're using failover cluster, right? We are using the failover cluster manager to do the live migration, right? But today I'm not going to use the failover cluster manager to do this. I will introduce you another tool called Windows Admin Center. Oops, sorry. Right? Oh wait. Okay, I will introduce you with another tool called Windows Admin Center. Okay, so this Windows Admin Center is in fact not come default with the Windows Server. You have to go and download it. Okay, you can go to the Bing or go to the Google, search for Windows Admin Center. Okay, from this link, you can get the Windows Admin Center. Okay, just download and install. The wizard is very straightforward. Just click next to install. Okay, so right after install, to access the Windows Admin Center, normally you just need to key in HTTPS followed by localhost or followed by the IP address of the host server. Once you hit enter, you will see something like this. Okay, you can add a lot of server which you want to manage through this button. Okay, right now I have prepared with the Azure Stack HCI. Azure Stack HCI is actually built with the built on top of a cluster. So I will need to click this, to go in. Okay, normally when the first time you click in, you will see the first one is the dashboard. Okay, dashboard will tell you everything. It is about the overview of the status of the adjusted HCI, include the error. As like right now you can see, we purposely make some error for you to see. We are not don't want to everything look good for you. Okay, so from here you can see some error. Okay, the memory is over consumed, and then we have the drive help, virtual machine, the volume, CPU usage, memory usage, storage usage, and even the IOPS. Okay, then from here we have a virtual machine view. Okay, Windows Admin Center, once you click in, normally you will see the summary. Okay, if you want to see by management view, you have to click this inventory. From here, then you're able to get to see the virtual machine. Okay, I have prepared actually 4 virtual machine, and right now 3 of it running on Node 1 and 1 of it running on Node 2. Okay, I always like to do a storyline to do a demo. Okay, now let's assume we have 2 IT admin. They try to do each other's work. Okay, one IT admin is the IT backup admin. Try to copy something from the file server to the backup server. Okay, let me. Okay, before that, I will show you how we can use this Windows Admin Center to connect to the virtual machine. There are 2 ways. The first way is using this connect button. Okay, this connect button is the built-in by using HTML5 technology. All the Windows is usually built into the browser. You can control the Windows through this browser. You have to key in the username and password in order to log in. So as you can see here, this is the Windows. Okay. So another way you can connect to the virtual machine is using the remote desktop. But this remote desktop is the way we connect it is more like using the Azure. See from here, I download the RDP file. I run it. Okay, key in the password to log in. Okay, now is it going? Okay, now let's assume this IT backup admin, you try to copy the file from this backup server. Okay, so as what you can see, here is the network path to the backup server. You copy some files back to this backup server C drive. Paste it here. Okay, that's what you can see right now. This virtual machine is copying, the job copying is running. And this virtual machine, the name is called Win209 normal nested mirror on Node 1. Okay, as we can see, it's running on Node 1. Now we go back to the virtual machine view, and another IT admin at the data center. Right now, you want to do the line migration job. Okay, this is the virtual machine which we use just now. Okay, just take it and click more and just move. Go over to another node which is node 2. Okay, from node 1, go over to node 2. Take the move. Okay, from here, actually, you can see the progress is running. Okay, so during the live migration progress, okay, we can see that the job is still running. Okay, it's successfully moved to the node 2 already. Okay, let's go and see whether the job is still running or not. We use another screen. It's like this. So what we can see, the job is still running. Okay, and we notice that this server is being moved to node 2. Okay, so this live migration is actually whatever you do at the back end is transparent to the end user. Okay, so this ends my demo number 1. We'll go to the topic number 2. Is demo number 2 is called deduplication. Okay, data deduplication and compression. Now let me prepare something. Okay, let me log in first. Okay, we have two different virtual machines actually running. Okay, let me introduce you the differences between these two virtual machines. This one. Okay, this virtual machine number 1 is actually placed in the volume dedupe enable volume. Okay, this one is actually placed at the normal volume. Okay, let's look into the file size of each virtual machine. Okay, this virtual machine with the dedupe enable is actually have a 97.9 GB free space. For this one, it's also almost the same size. Okay, you can see side by side to compare. Now let's go and see the volume size after dedupe. Okay, from the window admin center, we go to the volume. That's what I introduced you just now. Okay, we have two virtual machines. One of it is played in the volume with the dedupe enable. Another one plays at the normal volume. We compare these two volume size. One's with the dedupe enable, this utilization is 8%, while another one is 13%. Okay, this is the differences between the dedupe and the non-dedupe. And let's look into the dedupe one. We're going to click in. Okay, as you can see, this volume has the dedupe enable, deduplication and compression enable. And right now it's set up to 40%. This 40% means it's the ratio. And here it shows you the size used is 79.1 GB. Instead, just now we can see something should be more than that, right? Okay, now compare to the non-dedupe. Okay, this is non-dedupe. Okay, we didn't on it. And then you see the capacity size is 130 GB. It's very big difference. Okay, somebody have asked me, can I put something like JPEG, MP3, or some compressed file into the dedupe volume? The answer is yes, definitely you can put, but after you put in, the dedupe doesn't really give you a very good result because those files are already compressed file. Okay, it cannot be compressed and compressed again. While for those have a good dedupe ratio files is something like DOC, Excel file, PowerPoint. Once you, example, file server, once you put into the dedupe volume, you will see a very good result. So another question somebody asked me before, is it advisable to put SQL Server into the dedupe volume? Okay, the answer is it's very depends. Okay, okay, like the scenario, if you have a D drive and E drive, which is the SQL log and the DB, which we not recommend to put into the dedupe volume. Okay, while your SQL C drive, which is you install for the Windows binary and none others performance related files, you can put into the dedupe volume. Okay, so this ends my second demo, deduplication. We'll go to the third demo. Okay, third demo is about a USB thumb drive as a file share witness. Okay, this one, as what Amarnath said just now. Okay, file share witness in fact is it plays a job to actually make as a extra how we say that is to provide the additional quorum vote when in the scenario the cluster down. Okay, it will help to bring your cluster up when in the scenario cluster down. Okay, for this file share witness, normally we will place it in the server, but with the scenario like if somebody don't have extra server, what you can do, you can actually always put the file share witness into a wireless router with the USB port enable and the file share function enable. Simply prepare a USB thumb drive, plug into the USB port, and then go into the router's file share function page. Then just follow the guideline to actually do the file share. So it's very easy actually. And you can actually nowadays you can easily find this kind of wireless router around us. Example like Linksys and TP-Link. Okay, you can find it everywhere in fact. Okay. So for this file share USB file share witness, we doesn't have any demo, so I will just go through for you. So this is about some resources that I can share with you. Don't worry, you don't need to copy. After this session, we will send you the slide. Okay, let's go to the demo number 4. Okay, demo number 4 is about the resiliency. Okay, so I will demo you how we can unplug hard disk out. Sorry, let's assume in this way. Somebody is copying file from one server to another server. Okay, at this moment, suddenly one hard disk failed. Okay, and then after the hard disk failed, you can see that everything is still working fine. Even the entire node failed, the file copying job is still working fine. And we come to another more critical scenario. The entire node failed plus the active server, one of the hard disk failed also. Then you will see what's the result. Okay, due to some constraint, I cannot do this live demo, but I have prepared a video for this scenario. Let me play it for you. Okay, so in the Windows Admin Center, I open open a virtual machine. Okay, from this virtual machine, before that we see all the drive on node 1 and node 2 is actually working fine in good condition. As what you can see, everything is in green and show okay. Okay, now let's assume somebody copying the file from other server to this server. Okay, paste to the C drive backup folder. Okay, what we can see right now, the copying job is running. Okay, now suddenly one of the hard disk failed. Okay, we will simulate one of the hard disk fail. We have to refresh this window admin center to see the result. Okay, that's what you can see right now. One of the hard disk failed. It's shown in red color with the message lost communication. From this column, you can see that, okay, this is slot one of the not one. Okay, what we can do right now, we have a function to highlight this hard disk field so that engineer in the data center can identify that this is the field hard disk. Okay, let's go back to the virtual machine. Okay, that's what we can see. The copying job is still running without any interruption, and in fact, the IT admin who copying the job don't know that something is wrong on the server hardware. Okay, now we simulate the more critical scenario. So the entire node one field. So normally this will have to click a few times the refresh. Okay, still doesn't reflect. So we are going to refresh the entire page. Yes, after refresh, we can see that the entire node one, all the hard disk lost communication. Okay, all in red color, we saw that lost communication, and we go and see back the job. In fact, still running without any interruption. Okay. Now, okay, as you can see that the VM is actually filled over to the node 2 now, right? Because node 1 filled already. Now we simulate another more critical. Okay, you see node 2, one of the hard disk filled again now. Okay, let's go back and see. Everything is still working fine. And it's transparent to the IT admin who doing the copying job. Okay, is it emerging right, this one? Okay, this is about the resiliency demo. Okay. Now let's go back. We have another demo. Okay, this is about the fifth demo. It's about the IOPS performance. Okay, about this IOPS performance, I also wasting no time. I give the okay, before that, let me show you this. Okay, I have two set of tests, one with the 90% and 90% read and 10% write. Okay, so another one with the 70% rate and write 30%. As what you can see, this IOPS show that the total result. And here is the read IOPS result, and here is the write IOPS result. This is 10% right. Okay, compared to another one, this is a very write intensive process. Example, somebody have a very critical data entry right into the database. Okay, it's not some, it's quite a lot of people around the world. They have the data entry. Then only you can see that this kind of write intensive. Okay, so this will show that it runs around 100K, read with the 234K. The total is 334K. Well, the upper one, you see the difference. Okay. Okay, the IOPS video I can run very quickly to show you because I still got one thing to introduce you. Okay. Okay, this IOPS normally we run using these tools called VMplate. Okay. So from here we just before that I show that we have total 33 virtual machine. Okay, with the the last 3 I off it because it's not related to the test. So in fact, it's total 30 virtual machines running. From here, I run this command. Okay. This 0 means that if the write 0, so this test means it's 100% read intensive without any write. Okay, once I hit and click run, so the process starts. So we will have to wait for a while, only you can see the result. Okay, that's what you can see now. Okay, it's starting to boost up. Read and the total IOPS. Okay, so I'm just going to show how this test benchmarking VM free works. So in fact, this ends my 5 demo. But before that, we still got some time. I want to show you more about the Windows Admin Center. Okay, this Windows Admin Center comes with the HPE extension for the Azure Stack HCI. So what we can see inside this one, okay, let me key the credential. Yeah, okay, from here you can see that this solution is classified as a hybrid SAS plus SSD drive configuration. We have number of 2 nodes running on the Windows Server 2009 Data Center Edition. And this is the server model. Okay. And then we have the storage information, capacity. Okay. And this is the cache. Okay. Let's look at the second inventory. Okay. From here, we can see that the firmware version. Okay. And also the RAM, the smart array, storage. From here, this storage manager, you can even see the hard disk. Okay. And here also we can highlight the LED. Then it will show that which hard disk actually being highlighted. Okay, you can close it. Amazing, right? This is very useful too. And sometimes when the time we require the HP support, and then HP support normally will ask you some information, example, serial number. Okay, and all the IT admin is working remotely and not in the data center. How you can get this information? Just go here, then you will see it. It's very, very useful too. Thanks to the HP and Microsoft for this extension. Okay, this extension is about the cluster. How about for the individual nodes server machine? Okay, this is another extension for the individual nodes. Okay, from here, they are more informative on the individual node. You can see the product serial number, the ILO IP address, the processor status, all the hardware status, the firmware. Okay, one thing I want to tell about is about the firmware. Okay, so sometimes we didn't really take care about the firmware version, right? But this software will actually tell you which the firmware, if you are using the old firmware, then it will highlight to you this firmware is too old and is recommended to upgrade. And then you will have the link for you to download the latest firmware and also to tell you the information. See. Okay. Then we go to the inventory. So from here, you can see some information, something about the iLog. So you're not necessary to purposely go into the iLog to get this information. See, processor, the memory. I think we are running out of time, right?
So Chua, can you just click on a help button there? What is that shows?
Yes.
So this is one of a brief extension which Microsoft and HP togetherly have done. So majority of the situations, if IT administrator is stuck in some space, they can refer end-to-end information regarding that server and how to take the actions. This is a quick reference guide kind of. And the good point is if a IT administrator wants to log a case, even directly by just using the last button, last icon hyperlink, HPE support center, he can raise a ticket from the same directly from the node itself.
Okay.
That's the best thing as an integration of HP and Microsoft, which they pulled up this extension, because when we developed, we have shared the SDK so that accordingly they have developed how the end-to-end experience with the software and hardware can be in a simple pane with Admin Center. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Amma.
Thank you.
That's end my today's demo. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone, for.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice day.